Alright, so let's start with the default cube and let's add a Bezier curve. So Shift A, Bezier, scale it up and Control A, apply scale. Now with this Bezier curve selected, go to the geometry node editor and click on new. Now let's drag the cube inside this geometry node editor. Now add a resample curve. So Shift A, search for resample. We can also leave this resample, but let me use it for resetting the curve. So let's select the length of about 0.3. Now let's add a sample curve node. Now plug the output of this curve to sample curve node and now add a set position node. Now add the cube geometry to the geometry of set position node and select the position of the sample curve and plug it to the offset. Now to see both of these geometries, let me add a join geometry node, plug it before the group output, and then plug the set position geometry in the join geometry. So now if I hide the cube, you can see that the position of the cube is offset onto the curve. And now in the sample curve node, this length value, if I change the length value, you see that it goes from 0 to 1 throughout the curve. It moves over the curve. Alright, so for the zombie scene that you saw, all the assets that I used are free assets from online. So the characters, the zombie characters are from MIXAMO. So it's pretty simple. You just log into MIXAMO and go to characters from here and search for zombie. And you get all these characters. Just select any one of these. And then go to animations, and in here you can search for any animation you want. So like I'll search for run, select that animation. Now in here you can select all these settings. So I'll choose in place and now just download it as FBX file. Choose the FPS, I'll choose 24 and download. Okay, so now let's import that file. So go to File, Import and FBX. Select it. So here it is. Now if you click on the armature and let's go to timeline, you can see all these keyframes. And now to make a continuous loop from these keyframes, we can just come here to nonlinear animation, select it and click on this push down action. Now a new action is created. You can save it with a name. So for example Z1, and in the strip option here, go to action clip and here we can just repeat it. So give it a repeat of maybe about 30. So now if you press play, it makes it a continuous loop. Now another thing that we can do to create a variation out of this, we can just change this playback speed. So for example, I can make it 0.95. And if I just copy it, so let me select it and Shift D. Now in this NLA track, I'll change it to 1 again. So now I have two variations of the same animation. And we can use multiple objects and create multiple NLA tracks and then change the playback speed to get multiple variations. Okay, so now to use these animations in our geometry node, we need only the skin of these. So I'll select the skin and press M to create a new collection. Let's call it ZS. So now these skins are moved in this new collection. Now if I select the Bezier curve and go to geometry node editor again, let's just drag this new collection inside, and in place of this cube, we'll just delete it. Plug the collection geometry into set position. Now you can choose separate children and reset children. Now when you click on reset children, you can see the scale is messed up. It is actually really big. So what we can do is we can just scale it down. So Shift A, go to scale and scale instances, plug it here, and now just scale it down to 0.1, maybe about 0.01. Yes. Now let's tackle the rotation. So first of all, select these two and press Ctrl A and apply rotation. So now to rotate the instance in the geometry node editor, press Shift A and select rotate instance. Plug it after the scale. And now I'll use align Euler to vector. So Shift A, align Euler to vector. Now for this, we'll plug the output from sample curve. So plug the tangent to the vector and plug this rotation to rotation of the instance. Now if we press Y, we can see this is aligned in the Y direction. However, it is opposite of what we want. So either I can use another rotate instance, but just to keep things simple, I'm just gonna select the original part and shift select the skin and rotate those in the Z direction. So R, Z, and press Ctrl and rotate these exactly 180 degree. And now press Ctrl A and apply rotation. Do the same thing with the second one. R, Z, Ctrl drag, 180, Ctrl A, apply rotation. So now these are aligned in the required direction. Alright, now because I want to distribute multiple animations, so I cannot use these on overlapping like this. So for that, we can use multiple methods. We can use instancing on different type of things, but let me use a simple plane. So first of all, let me hide these original armature and bones. And now let's add a plane. So Shift A, add a plane. This is gonna be my instancing surface. So let me rename it to instance plane. Now select the Bezier curve and drag this plane inside the node editor. Now I'm going to instance this plane at the start of this curve. So let's add a instance on point node. And let's plug this plane geometry to instance. Select as instance. And now for the points, I'll use the curve. So plug the curve here. And now I just want it at the start. So I'll use a endpoint node. Click on endpoint selection. Give the end 0. And plug the selection to selection. Now just to see this with all of these, I'll just plug it to join geometry, and here you can see it is instanced here. Now I'm gonna instance the points onto this plane. So I'll just remove this collection info from set position directly. I'll just cut it. And I'm gonna add a distribute point on faces node. Plug it afterwards. So here are the points. And now again instance on points. And now on this instance I'm gonna use the zombie animation. So this one. Plug it into instance and select pick instance. So right now you cannot see those because again the scale is very big. So in the instance on point node I'm going to reduce the scale again to 0.01. So now you can see all these animations, and because now we are using the plane, we don't need these separate scale and rotate. So I'll just alt drag these out and delete these. And also we are going to use this set position after our instancing. So alt drag this out as well. Now let's disconnect the instance from output geometry. So control right click drag and plug the instance to geometry and this geometry to join geometry. And again from the sample curve plug the position to position. And now we can use this align Euler to vector rotation directly into the instance. So here. Now let's decrease the density a bit. Something like this. And now if I drag it, you can see it follows the curve. Alright, so all that is left now is that we can just animate this length value from the sample curve. So first of all, let's see how much this curve's length is. So if I drag it, you can see it stops at about 15. So 15 is the length. So let me bring it to 0 and let's drag another window and set it to our timeline. And in here on the first frame just select this length and press I to insert a keyframe, and now go to a length about 40 or 42 frames. I have just checked it with the hit and trial. You can do that with your own curve. So at about 42, click on this length, set 15, so the full length, and press I again to insert a keyframe. Now if you press play, you see both animations work together and it creates the illusion of running along a path. So whenever you create a new curve, just check the length and animate this value according to that. Alright, so let me quickly show you the original scene. So this is the scene, and this model I have used from sketchfab. So let me show you. Here is a really good model. It's a 3D scan by ARTFLETCH, and he's kind enough to give it for free to download and use it in your projects. So thank you so much. And I have just downloaded it and modified it a little bit according to my need. So straighten it a bit, and then I downloaded most of the zombie objects from MIXAMO and created multiple variations using the same LNA editor trick. And if I go to camera mode, this is the basic scene, the fourth shot basically. So this is how the final scene looks in Eevee, and I rendered multiple shots and then added them in VSDC to create that full length clip. So this is how you can create simple animations following a path, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.